A small request before starting the video. If you love the channel's topic, then subscribe to the channel now and press the bell icon next to it. Because one of your subscriptions encourages me to make better videos. What does YNR's Cain think Victor can do to Lily? We are as confused after watching the February 12th episode of The Young and the Restless as we have been for weeks now. Victor intends to get Newman Enterprises, including Chancellor, back from Cain by threatening the lives of Lily, Maddie, and Charlie. Cain has lost control of those companies now to Phyllis and Billy. Phyllis and Billy did it because Cain was ready to give in to Victor's blackmail. Why? What was he afraid of? None of this makes any sense. Terms and conditions. Victor, Eric Braden, proved to Cain, Billy Flynn, that he had Lily, Christel, Khalil, Maddie, and Charlie. When Nikki, Melody Thomas Scott, expressed concern about her husband being a kidnapper, Victor barked that he would never hurt Niels, Christophe St. John, daughter and grandchildren. Nikki believed him. So why would Cain think differently? Empty threat. Does Cain think that Victor would, what? Kill Lily and the twins? Does he think Nikki would stand for that? Does he think Victoria, Amelia Heinley, Nick, Joshua Morrow, Abby, Melissa Ordway, heck, even Adam, Mark Grossman, would forgive him that? Does he think Devin, Bryden James, and Nate, Sean Dominic, wouldn't go scorched earth on the man? Does he not think this would be the one Rubicon Victor would never cross? Nothing doing. What does Cain think Victor's plan would be if Cain said no to his blackmail? Does she think Victor would keep Lily and the kids prisoner, indefinitely? See above Nikki, Victoria, Nick, Abby, Adam, Devin, Nate, etc. He's have to let them go eventually. And if Cain is afraid that Lily, Maddie, and Charlie would blame him for their imprisonment, well, they already think he's the worst. This wouldn't change anything. Blackmail only works if you believe the threat will be carried out. On what planet does Cain think Victor would do what he claims? This is a non-starter. Since when is Cain stupid? On The Young and the Restless, paranoia is practically a love language, and right now no one is more suspicious than Cain Ashby. As the chessboard in Genoa City shifts yet again, Cain can't shake one chilling question. What does Victor Newman think he can do to Lily Winters, and more importantly, what is he already setting in motion? The mere possibility that the mustache has Lily in his crosshairs is enough to send Cain into overdrive, because when it comes to Victor, history has proven that no one is untouchable. Not rivals. Not friends. And certainly not the woman Cain still cares about more than he's willing to admit. Victor Newman, the titan of Newman Enterprises and the undisputed puppet master of corporate warfare, doesn't make idle threats. When he moves, entire empires crumble. Cain knows that better than most. He's been burned before. He's been underestimated. And he's seen firsthand how Victor operates when someone threatens his legacy, his company, or his family. So when whispers start circulating that Victor isn't pleased with Lily's latest business moves, Cain's instincts kick in fast and hard. He doesn't believe for 1 second that Victor would simply let things play out organically. No, if Victor feels slighted or strategically cornered, he'll retaliate in ways that leave permanent scars. Lily has worked tirelessly to carve out her own identity in Genoa City's ruthless corporate landscape. As a leader, a mother, and a survivor of heartbreak and prison time, she has fought too hard to let anyone define her narrative. But that's exactly what Victor does best. He rewrites narratives. He frames enemies. He manipulates public perception until the target doesn't even recognize themselves in the mirror. Cain fears Victor could undermine Lily professionally by orchestrating a quiet but devastating takeover, using shell companies and silent partners to destabilize her influence. He's seen Victor employ that tactic before, smiling in public while strangling a rival's assets behind closed doors. And if that's not enough, Victor has another weapon in his arsenal: personal leverage. Victor understands that in Genoa City, business and family are inseparable. If he can't attack Lily's position outright, he can threaten the people she loves. Devon. The twins. Even her closest allies. Cain's blood runs cold at the thought. Because while Lily is strong, she is also fiercely loyal, and loyalty can be exploited. Cain believes Victor might attempt to isolate Lily by turning key players against her. A whispered doubt here. A strategic leak there. Suddenly, Lily could find herself standing alone in a boardroom she thought she controlled. Cain also worries Victor could bait Lily into making a rash decision. Victor thrives on psychological warfare. He knows how to push buttons, how to dangle opportunities that look too good to resist. What if he offers Lily a deal that appears beneficial but contains a hidden trap? What if he manipulates market conditions so that her only safe option is one that ultimately serves him? Cain has begun watching Victor's moves like a hawk, analyzing every partnership and public statement for hidden meaning. Because if Victor sees Lily as expendable, or worse, as a pawn, Cain knows the fallout could be catastrophic. But there's another layer to Cain's fear, and it's deeply personal. Victor has never fully trusted Cain. Their history is littered with tension, missteps, and power struggles. If Victor believes Cain still has influence over Lily, he might target her specifically to send Cain a message. In Victor's world, emotional collateral damage is acceptable if it secures victory. That possibility ignites something primal in Cain. Protective. Determined. Perhaps even reckless. The irony isn't lost on him that Lily may not want or need his protection. She has repeatedly proven she can stand toe-to-toe with any titan in town, including Victor himself. Yet Cain can't ignore the pattern. Victor doesn't just defeat opponents, he dismantles them. He exposes vulnerabilities they didn't even know they had. And Lily's greatest vulnerability might be her belief that she can reason with him. Cain fears that Victor could exploit Lily's desire to prove herself as an equal. Offer her a seat at a table that's secretly rigged. Praise her publicly while quietly preparing to pull the rug out from under her. The devastation wouldn't just be financial, it would be reputational. And in Genoa City, reputation is everything. There's also the looming question of revenge. Victor has a long memory. If he perceives Lily's recent decisions as betrayals or challenges to his authority, he may feel compelled to reassert dominance. Cain suspects Victor could target Lily's partnerships, driving wedges between her and Devon or creating doubt about her leadership. A fractured alliance would weaken her far more effectively than a direct assault. As tension builds, Cain finds himself torn between confronting Victor directly and warning Lily to tread carefully. But confronting Victor is like poking a sleeping lion. It could accelerate whatever plan is already in motion. And warning Lily risks insulting her intelligence or autonomy. Still, Cain's instincts are screaming that something isn't right. Victor's calm demeanor is almost too calm. He hasn't lashed out. He hasn't publicly criticized. And that silence? It's deafening. Cain has seen this before. It's the quiet before the storm, the calculated stillness that precedes a devastating strike. What does Cain truly think Victor can do to Lily? Everything. He believes Victor has the resources to freeze her out of deals, the influence to sway investors, and the cunning to orchestrate scandals that would tarnish her credibility overnight. He believes Victor could turn friends into skeptics and allies into liabilities. Most terrifying of all, Cain believes Victor could make Lily question herself. Because once doubt creeps in, even the strongest leader can falter. Yet beneath the fear lies another emotion, resolve. Cain isn't the same man he once was. He's learned from his mistakes, hardened by loss and betrayal. If Victor is coming for Lily, Cain intends to be ready. He may not have Victor's empire, but he has insight. He knows the tactics. He understands the psychology. And he refuses to let Lily be blindsided. Whether Lily welcomes his involvement or not, Cain is preparing for war. The brewing conflict isn't just about corporate power, it's about pride, legacy, and unfinished business. Victor doesn't tolerate threats to his dominance. Lily doesn't bow to intimidation. And Cain stands squarely in the middle, convinced that Victor sees Lily as either a tool to be controlled or an obstacle to be removed. In Genoa City, that distinction can mean the difference between survival and ruin. As alliances shift and secrets simmer, one thing is certain: Cain believes Victor is capable of dismantling Lily's world piece by piece if it serves his larger strategy. The question isn't whether Victor can do it. It's whether he will. And if he does, whether Cain can stop him in time. Cain's anxiety only intensifies as the tension surrounding the young and the restless continues to simmer. The more Victor remains composed, the more convinced Cain becomes that a long game is already underway. Because if there's one thing everyone in Genoa City understands about Victor Newman, it's that he never reacts impulsively when he can respond strategically. He studies. He waits. He calculates. And then he strikes with surgical precision. Cain knows that if Victor sees Lily as a threat, whether to Newman Enterprises or to his personal sense of authority, he won't confront her directly. He'll orchestrate circumstances that force her into a corner. Perhaps it starts with a deal that falls through unexpectedly. A partner backing out at the last minute. Investors growing skittish over rumors that no one can trace back to their source. Cain can practically see the dominoes lined up, waiting for Victor to flick the first one. What troubles him most is that Lily might not see it coming. As strong and perceptive as Lily Winters is, she often believes in facing conflict head-on. Victor doesn't operate that way. He prefers shadows and leverage. Cain suspects Victor could exploit Lily's ambition, subtly steering her toward high-risk ventures that appear promising but carry hidden liabilities. If she overextends even slightly, Victor could swoop in as the so-called savior, gaining control while maintaining the illusion that Lily invited him in. And then there's the personal angle. Victor has never hesitated to use family dynamics as weapons. Cain worries that Victor might attempt to manipulate Devon's loyalty, planting seeds of doubt about Lily's leadership decisions. A fractured front between Lily and Devon would weaken her standing dramatically. Cain knows how much Lily values unity. If Victor can convince key allies that she's acting recklessly or emotionally, her support system could erode from within. That internal collapse would hurt far more than any public humiliation. Cain also can't ignore the possibility of Victor exploiting Lily's past. Genoa City has a long memory, and Victor is known for resurrecting inconvenient truths when it suits him. If he were to subtly remind the public or potential partners of Lily's legal troubles from years ago, it could shake confidence just enough to destabilize her influence. Cain despises the thought of her past being weaponized again. She paid her dues. She rebuilt her life. But Victor has never been above reopening old wounds if it advances his agenda. What truly rattles Cain, though, is the emotional warfare Victor is capable of unleashing. Victor doesn't just aim for victory, he aims for dominance. He wants his opponents to know they were outmatched. Cain fears Victor could stage a series of subtle humiliations, small but public setbacks designed to chip away at Lily's confidence. A board vote that doesn't go her way. A press leak that questions her judgment. A rival empowered at precisely the wrong moment. Individually, they might seem manageable. Together, they could feel suffocating. And in the middle of all this, Cain is wrestling with his own role. He knows Victor has always viewed him with skepticism, perhaps even disdain. If Victor suspects Cain is advising Lily behind the scenes, that could escalate matters further. Victor might see it as a challenge, Cain daring to stand in opposition to him once again. And if Victor decides to make an example out of someone, he has a history of going big. Cain wonders whether Victor might even attempt to lure Lily into a false sense of security by offering her a temporary alliance. A shared objective. A mutually beneficial partnership. Cain doesn't trust it for a second. Victor's alliances often come with invisible strings, and once you're entangled, disentangling yourself can cost everything. He fears Lily might believe she can outmaneuver Victor at his own game. But Victor has decades of experience manipulating titans. He doesn't underestimate opponents, he studies their weaknesses until he can anticipate their moves before they make them. There's also the looming specter of retaliation. If Victor believes Lily has interfered with his interests or aligned herself with someone he considers an adversary, he could interpret that as betrayal. And in Victor's world, betrayal demands correction. Cain has seen how relentless Victor can be when he feels crossed. He doesn't just retaliate once, he ensures the lesson is permanent. As Cain pieces together potential scenarios, one truth keeps resurfacing: Victor can do almost anything he sets his mind to in Genoa City. He controls resources, information, and loyalty in ways few can rival. Cain believes Victor could freeze Lily out of critical markets, orchestrate leadership challenges, or even create circumstances that force her into a humiliating retreat. And the most dangerous part? Victor would likely do it while insisting it's just business. But beneath Cain's fear lies an unspoken hope that maybe, just maybe, Victor sees value in Lily rather than threat. That perhaps Victor recognizes her strength and prefers to harness it rather than destroy it. Still, Cain isn't naive enough to rely on hope. He's preparing contingencies. Quiet conversations. Strategic alliances. Backup plans designed to shield Lily if Victor makes his move. Because while Victor may believe he's the ultimate strategist, Cain has learned from years of observing him. He knows the warning signs. He senses the patterns. And he refuses to let Lily become collateral damage in yet another Newman power play. The real question haunting Cain isn't simply what Victor can do to Lily, it's what Victor is willing to do. There's a difference between capability and intent, and Victor has never shied away from crossing lines when the stakes demand it. Cain believes Victor could dismantle Lily's professional empire piece by piece, undermine her personal relationships, and leave her standing alone in a city that suddenly feels hostile. Yet he also believes Lily is stronger than Victor anticipates. If Victor is preparing for battle, he may discover that Lily isn't a pawn at all, but a queen. And if Cain has anything to say about it, Victor will learn that targeting Lily comes at a cost.